Namibia has a vast reservoir of untapped human and physical potential and is ranked by the World Bank as an upper middle income country. The distribution of wealth is so skewed, however, that poverty remains a massive challenge, particularly in rural areas. The goal of the Millennium Challenge Account Namibia program has been to activate this potential and thereby to play a central role in Namibia's continued economic and social development as a young, vibrant country founded on democratic principles. Following extensive consultations with Namibian stakeholders from all walks of life, Namibia submitted its application for aid under the Millennium Challenge Corporation program in 2006. This led to the signing of the Millennium Challenge Account Namibia Compact by the MCC and the Government of the Republic of Namibia in July 2008, with an overall budget of $304.5 million. The overall program objective was to achieve poverty reduction through economic growth. The program was designed to attain this by increasing the competence of the Namibian workforce, improving tourism management and the awareness of Namibia as a competitive tourist destination, and increasing the productivity of agricultural and non-agricultural enterprises in rural areas. MCA Namibia was constituted as an arm of the Namibian government, comprising 3 projects: the Education Project, the Agriculture Project, and the Tourism Project. The selection of these projects was in response to the need for pro-poor interventions that target the most vulnerable and marginalized citizens and help unlock the country's development potential. From the very beginning, the MCA Namibia program placed great emphasis on accountability and the attainment of measurable results to ensure that the promises made to the people of Namibia, as documented in the compact, were met. The main aim of the agriculture project was to achieve a sustainable increase in the economic performance of the farming sector in Namibia's northern communal areas. To this end, the agriculture project ran 3 activities: on land access and management, on livestock support, and on indigenous natural products. The agriculture project had a total budget of over $51 million.
The government identified specific, call it priority sectors, where this money, if allocated, would then be utilized. And one of those sectors happened to be the agricultural sector and rural development. For me, I look at this program as a program that complement and supplement what government already is doing. And we must be open and say that, at least in our sector, the support that we got through this program has really made a big improvement. And these are things that one can visibly see.
With the march of time, changes have been occurring in the traditional forms of land access in communal areas. The land access and management activity aimed to improve land tenure security and increase community adoption of sustainable rangeland management, animal husbandry, and livestock marketing practices. Village meetings were organized and training was given to traditional authority leadership.
The Communal Land Support Project is an MCA-funded project which is in the Ministry of Land. one of the key focus area is to educate communities about their land rights. And of course, by educating the community about their land rights, we mostly use the Communal Land Reform Act because that is the act that is managing communal land. So we are predominantly working only on communal land areas. So the other focus area of the Communal Land Support Project is policy review, where we are looking at what are the gaps within the Communal Land Reform Act and how do we improve the communal land reform, the policy framework for communal land in Namibia. The third aspect we are looking at is the issues of improving procedures for managing communal land, which goes together with the policy. The other key important aspect which I'm responsible for is the issue of empowering the key stakeholders in the management of communal land. And these are the traditional authority, the communal land board, and the ministry staff themselves. What we are doing is that we use the local radios, we use the TVs, we use community meetings, we go to different communities, we do community hall meetings, so we go there to educate communities about their land rights.
Elizabeth Munda is a councillor and a traditional leader. She said that the training on the Communal Lands Reform Act was important because it had shown how working as a team is better than working in isolation. It was clear about the proper procedures for solving conflicts and apportioning usage rights. She appealed to all involved parties, including traditional authority and local council members, to lay aside personal differences and local political affiliations and to focus on development for the good of all. Through the Communal Land Support Sub-activity, distinct parcels of land in excess of 20 hectares were identified and their tenure status verified. When farmers are confident that their tenure over land is recognized and respected, they are more likely to ensure that rangelands are not damaged. Namibia's arid climate presents significant challenges, particularly for the majority of Namibians whose livelihoods are centered largely on subsistence farming, which is not only highly susceptible to environmental and climatic changes, but also relies on coordinated management of the resource base in order to prevent degradation. The need to protect the resource base on which people's livelihoods ultimately depend informed the community-based rangeland and livestock management sub-activity. Farmers in northern communal areas were given training in best practices for rangeland management, leadership, and animal husbandry practices for small and large livestock. MCA Namibia implemented a pilot that encouraged farmers to group together to benefit from combined herding and to manage their assets collectively. Meme Shikongo mentions the benefits of the CBRLM program for farmers, including improved water facilities and the small stock pass-on scheme. Farmers received goats. This has helped to alleviate poverty amongst the poorest of the poor in the community. Combined herding has helped to minimize stock theft and to give rangeland a chance to recover after being grazed. Collective herding has made it much easier for farmers to have their animals vaccinated without delays. Within the various grazing areas, farmers now cooperate and graze their herds collectively. By rotating the sections of rangeland being grazed, they can avoid overgrazing and rangeland degradation.
I'm very glad and very happy and positive to say that the community development aspect of the project as a whole, inclusive of the livestock program, livestock management, water, inclusive of the trainings which were offered, inclusive of all the facets, rangeland management of the project has been highly successful. So the project is fully and 100% community-based. Further on to that, it is the fact that the underprivileged within the communities, they benefited from the small stock person scheme. With MCC, MCA, there was a need and an impetus to ensure that there was gender parity within the setup. When the project started, people did not think that women would be fully involved in the GAs. Eventually ended that in most of the GAs, positions of trust, positions of responsibilities, like secretaries and treasurers were held by women.
The reason why Namibia is the first trip is because it is such a success, because you have done such a good job. So I am here to celebrate your success and your commitment, and to celebrate the partnership between the American people and the Namibian people. And I want to especially acknowledge the role of the women in the project. I am honored and grateful for all that you have done.
In Namibia, the generally arid conditions often deteriorate to intense drought, testing the ability of livestock to survive and the resolve of farmers to carry on. Water points and storage dams ensure that cattle have a reliable source of water and are crucial for surviving periods of drought. Supporting water security was therefore a priority for the livestock support activity. As an example of such support, the Ngishongwa Earth Dam was built with MCA Namibia funds. The dam covers an area of about 10,000 square meters, with a maximum depth of 6 meters. The bottom was sealed with compacted clay to prevent excessive water loss through seepage. Water points are the lifeblood of livestock farming, but can be vulnerable to wildlife. For protection against wild animals, the pumps need to be inaccessible to them, and the troughs must be reinforced. For example, the borehole at Okathakampo is now protected by an elephant-proof wall. It feeds new troughs that are robust enough that elephants will not destroy them. In addition to initiating substantial new water security developments, the agriculture project also cooperated directly with individual communities and supported their own initiatives. At Ekuluo Iananzi, for example, a solar-powered immersion pump was installed in the 10-meter deep community-dug well. And at Oluvinga Losinok, MCA Namibia funded an underground water pipe, laid by the community members themselves, that now brings water from a borehole that is situated about 5 kilometers away.
It is my distinct honor as a representative of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Forestry to accept this particular wonderful water point that is going to take care of our farmers' animals. We thank MCA Namibia for the generous gesture that they have shown us and that they have shown to the Namibian people for giving us this wonderful, wonderful infrastructure. We accept it on behalf of the Namibian people. Thank you.
Over the years, the condition of the stock of cattle in Namibia's northern communal areas had been compromised, with inbreeding being a significant problem. Ideally, there should be about 1 productive bull for every 25 productive cows. This ratio had fallen to as low as 1 bull for every 200 cows, and as a result, productivity had fallen. Complementing its other interventions, the community-based rangeland and livestock activity ran the bull scheme. Through this scheme, the breeding stock of cattle in the north has been strengthened by the introduction of genetically superior stud bulls selected from Namibia's commercial cattle farming areas. Careful planning was required to coordinate the loading of bulls from widely separated sources, and in a single day transport them to the north, where they were distributed amongst beneficiary communities. Farmer groups are required to repay the loans for their bulls within 9 months. This money goes into a fund that is used for ongoing purchases of stud bulls.
I really feel happy because there will be a change in our breeding. Because most of the time is that we don't have that much competition, and our cattle are also not that much attractive. I think with the new breed coming in, I think there will be a change in our productivity.
Really, we are happy, I'm happy, and I think the whole community will be happy for receiving such a bulls. We have been looking for such a very good breed in our community, but we could not afford to buy such a bull. Now, if we receive them now, really, I think there will be a very good, I don't know how to express it, and very exciting.
Yet other challenges were identified in northern communal area livestock farming. The veterinary cordon fence, or red line, runs from west to east across Namibia. Foot and mouth disease and lung disease are uncontrolled only to the north of the line. To the south, relatively sophisticated veterinary services and the traceability of livestock allow for access to foreign markets, mainly in South Africa and Europe. To the north, however, veterinary services have historically been less sophisticated, and communal farmers have not enjoyed the same access to markets. This can be reversed only once the area to the north of the line is declared to be free of foot and mouth and lung disease, and veterinary services are in a position to maintain the health status in the northern communal areas. If northern communal area farmers are to enjoy all the benefits enjoyed by commercial farmers south of the veterinary control fence, it is essential that the highest veterinary standards be applied to their livestock industry, so that they can receive the same opportunities and that all relevant information regarding each cow and bull is available. This need was partly addressed by the livestock support activity. Traceability is a crucial issue in managing a national herd. To support the government's Namibian Livestock Identification and Traceability System, or NAMLITS, MCA Namibia purchased electronic reading equipment and 1.85 million radio frequency identification ear tags. 1.77 million cattle were tagged in this way. This allows for the direct tracing of meat products to individual cattle, whose complete veterinary histories are recorded through the NAMLITS system. Where the attainment of foot and mouth and lung disease-free status is a realistic goal, hopefully by as soon as 2020, MCA Namibia funded the construction of 5 new state veterinary offices. In Zambezi region, it will not be possible to attain disease-free status, however, and so MCA Namibia focused on renovating and upgrading the Katima Mulilo and Kopano quarantine camps.
These quarantine facilities are very important in terms of marketing of cattle in the region. In this region, it is a foot and mouth disease control zone because we do have free moving wild buffalo, which carriers of the foot and mouth disease virus. Of course, some of the control measures that we implement is vaccination of cattle 3 times a year in the eastern part of the region and twice a year in the western part of the region. But for marketing of cattle now, the cattle have to go through a quarantine system, so they will go through either at Katima quarantine or Kopano quarantine farm. Okay, let me say both the quarantine facilities underwent some upgrading exercise which was funded by MCA Namibia, and this involved renovation of the staff houses, upgrading of the entry and exit facilities, and also the electrification of Kopano quarantine farm. All those activities, they certainly go a long way in improving the facilities at the quarantine farm so that you can have uninterrupted marketing of cattle in the region since they have to go through the quarantine system.
In Zambezi region, the agriculture project sponsored veterinary training in the identification of foot and mouth disease, lung disease, and parasitic infestations, and on firebreak management and firefighting. Furthermore, research was conducted into export opportunities for livestock in the region. The livestock support activity also comprised a livestock market efficiency fund, aimed at helping communal farmers to overcome the constraints of a lack of flexibility and efficient market outlets. The goal of these initiatives was to increase the direct earnings of farmers.
This, whatever was done, whatever was constructed through this particular program has to be absorbed. It's now part and parcel of the government programs, both in terms of budgeting, financing, both in terms of staffing. So really, I would like to say that yes, the challenge is that we have these very wonderful facilities that, if properly utilized, and we must use them properly, I think will help us much. And therefore, the issue of sustainability, it is uppermost. It is a commitment of government, actually, that once the program has come to an end, we must continue with our own resources to further take those particular programs and activities.
The agriculture sector also focused on livestock animal husbandry, not just about the husbandry itself, also looking after grasses. It created a lot of awareness among farmers. Currently, they'll be able to look after their cattle better. They have an understanding when to market and what kind of animal to market. In the process, they will be able to earn income to look after their families, also for themselves. We are happy to leave the legacy of MCC Namibia that will be remembered by the farmers And we're also lucky to have the ministry still continuing to help these farmers, as well as the NGOs who are working in the agriculture sector.
Although the agriculture project did not deal with crop rearing, which plays an important role in food security in the northern communal areas, one of its activities did focus on harvesting a range of indigenous plant species and adding value to products derived from them. The INP activity worked closely with the Indigenous Plants Task Team, a multi-stakeholder body which had already laid the foundations for product development and diversification in the indigenous plants sector.
Indigenous and natural product is one of the activity of agriculture project. We help the women who traditionally process, harvest this product for their food consumption, but currently they realize that there's higher economic value in this product, especially if value is added. In the process of the whole compact, these women were benefited a lot. They increased their income at household level, and they'll be able to send their children to school, be able to send their family members to hospital, and they themselves be able to look after themselves.
The Opuo processing facility is an important component in the indigenous natural products activity. The primary focus of the facility was the processing of resins to produce high-value essential oils from indigenous plants, notably Commiphora species and Mopani. Adjoining the processing facility is the Opuo Visitors Center, which was supported by MCA's tourism project. Here, tourists can view short videos on the traditional harvesting and processing of Commiphora wildii. The harvesters of this indigenous natural resource were supported by MCA's agriculture project with training and the upgrading of the processing facility. Quality cosmetics products that are now being produced with ingredients derived from indigenous plants are also offered for sale at the center. One such ingredient is the essential oil obtained from the resin of Commiphora wildii, known as omumbiri or Namibian myrrh. It is naturally exuded, so its collection is non-destructive. The plant has a restricted range, with most growing in Namibia's Kunene region, but in sufficient numbers to satisfy foreseeable demand. With MCA Namibia support, the Opuo processing facility has been upgraded. New stills have been installed and essential improvements have been made to the water and electrical supply. Increasingly, the facility is managed by trained local community members. Indigenous natural resources have historically been very important in local traditional economies. Nowadays, however, the range of products derived from these resources is being expanded, and there is a growing focus on local value addition. Through the producer and processor organization sub-activity, training was provided on topics such as sustainable harvesting practices, quality control, certification, product development, and marketing. Harvesting indigenous natural resources is time-consuming and demanding work, usually undertaken by women. The income derived from natural plant resources is particularly important for harvesters, as they are paid directly for their produce. As the potential for new products emerges, the harvesters are consulted, and protocols for quality control, sustainable harvesting practices, and payment directly to the harvesters must be agreed upon. And in Namibia's remote Kunene region, the best venue for such meetings can be a magnificent sycamore fig tree in a riverbed, a traditional meeting place used with the blessing of the local chief. MCA Namibia has supported product development from species including Ximenia, Marula, Mopani, Sarcocolon, Commiphora, and Devil's Claw. One of the first Namibian indigenous natural products to be commercialized, and the most successful to date, is Devil's Claw. This plant has been used traditionally, mainly by San communities, to treat gastrointestinal problems and arthritic conditions. Because of its powerful anti-inflammatory properties, it is exported to several European countries, notably Poland, Germany, and France. Annual exports are currently worth about 25 million Namibia dollars. For the Devil's Claw trade to continue to benefit rural communities in the long term, it is essential that the resource be protected. MCA Namibia's Indigenous Natural Products section has supported the training and registration of Devil's Claw harvesters. This has been an important factor in the certification